What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to Picking a Fight. I'm Latch.
I'm Jeff.
And today we're going to be looking at UFC Fight Night Blades versus Aspinall. We're going to be looking at the co-main event, Jack the Joker Hermansson versus the Action Man, Chris Curtis. But before we get started, don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't. We're doing prediction videos for almost every Fight Night and pay-per-view, including the one next week, the rematch between Amanda Nunes and Juliana Pena. So don't forget to tune in and subscribe so you don't miss out. And let's get right into the fights. What we got, Jeff?
Yep, so we got Jack the Joker Hermansson. He's currently ranked number 8. He's 22-7, 34 years old, 6'1", 77.5-inch reach, and he's coming off a loss against Sean Strickland, and before that was a win against Edmund Shabazian. Then he's going up against Chris, the Action Man Curtis, currently ranked number 9. He's 29-8, 35 years old, 5'10", and 75-inch reach. He's coming off back-to-back wins against Rodolfo Vieira and Brandon Allen. What you think?
I think the odds have this one right. As of checking this, they're both minus 110, so it's super close as you can get. Mm-hmm. I understand why it is that way. You know, Jack the Joker Hermansson, he's a middleweight staple. You know, he's a staple of the division. You know, he has 14. I think he has 14 fights at middleweight in the UFC. While Chris Curtis is a little more newer. He is still pretty active, but the thing is, he's never faced someone as high ranked and as dangerous as Jack Hermansson. I think his biggest test so far in the UFC has been Phil Hawes, and so it's going to be a good matchup because Chris Curtis actually just fought on the Sarukian Gamrot card not too long ago, and he's taking this covering for his teammate Darren Till on short notice. Right before this fight, he was facing Rodolfo Vieira, who's a submission ace, not much of a threat on the feet, though, and Jack Hermansson is kind of similar. I'll say Jack Hermansson is a pretty big threat. His submission game, he's a submission guy, and but I think his hands are better than Rodolfo Vieira, and I think he's a little bigger. I think, as in height and with his reach. Mm-hmm. So those are some new threats, but it helps that I think Chris Curtis was training for a guy very similar to Jack Hermansson. Trying to stop the takedowns. Defend, get up if he takes you down, and piece him up on the feet. And we saw with the Vieira fight that he started kind of slow because Vieira went crazy with the takedowns, and once he wasn't able to get it, Chris Curtis started to get more comfortable and started kind of playing his game on the feet, and ended up winning rounds 2, 3 pretty comfortably, I think, and it looked good doing it. But yeah, Chris Curtis, his thing is his striking. He's very powerful. He has 14 wins by knockout or TKO. He is a southpaw. I think he is a slow starter. I feel like he has started pretty slow in his last 2 fights in the UFC. I think he will have the speed advantage. I think Jack's hands are just a little too slow, a little too sluggish. He's not really as explosive, but he will be bigger. He will have the reach and height advantage. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of similarities between Rodolfo Vieira and Jack Hermansson. But what do you think Jack does different or better or even worse?
I think their wrestling are about the same. I think both of them have never had really great wrestling.
Yeah, for sure.
Jack Hermansson, I do agree with you. I think he is better on the feet. The only thing that concerns me is that Chris Curtis, I feel like he always brings the pressure. Okay. And as we saw in the Sean Strickland fight with Jack Hermansson, like Jack really didn't do well off the back foot, like
it's
going
hard
backwards.
to shoot. It's hard to wrestle going backwards.
Yeah, exactly. So it kind of like eliminated that. And so if Chris Curtis does something similar, but he is the shorter man in this one, though. Mm-hmm. So so that one's going to be tough. But I really liked Chris Curtis in his last fight. Mm-hmm. I felt like his wrestling was good, I felt.
Yeah.
Maybe, or if it wasn't good, it was maybe like because he was
solid.
Explosive.
Yeah, I
like,
think so.
Like because he was just faster than Vieira. And I think that's going to help him in this one, too. I think he does have to be aggressive. I think he's pretty smart with the body shots too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
he's good with that.
I think that wouldn't work with someone who is like a better striker. Mm-hmm. But since he's going up against Jack Hermansson, which is a little better than Vieira, and might catch him with the counter, but I honestly don't think so. I think Vieira. I think Chris Curtis is going to work the body, and he's going to throw in some kicks. I think he threw a lot of kicks against Vieira, right? Wasn't his thigh turning red and stuff?
He threw a lot of kicks, a lot of body shots. Well, that was like his main thing.
Yeah. So I think he's pretty smart. He approached that fight smart. I think he's going to approach this fight in a similar way. I think he does have to be a little more careful with the hands, though, because he's dealing with the stronger guy, I think. Well, striking wise. So you think there's any chance Hermansson gets him to the ground?
Yeah, for sure. It might just take him one takedown or a chance to get a hold of him. But I mean, Chris Curtis, at being a striker, being a powerful striker for his entire career, especially early on, that was his his greatest weakness. He would get taken down, which is pretty obvious. If it's a good striker, he hits hard, take him down. Especially his takedown defense used to be real bad, but he's had a long road. That's the obvious thing to work on. So he's been working on it, and I think in the Vieira fight, obviously, like you said, Vieira and Hermansson aren't the best wrestlers, like natural wrestlers. They're more like grapplers that try to wrestle.
Yeah.
He still looked good stopping it. It seemed like he knew what to do every time, and Rodolfo Vieira is pretty new to MMA, and he had a very hard time doing anything, when it came to getting him to the ground. I think he stopped every takedown, and Hermansson's a little more tricky, I think, because he can trip you and stuff, but he loves to go for the single, the double. Those are his bread and butter, and I feel like those are the ones Chris Curtis probably practiced the most. So he will be ready for it. Obviously, Jack, I think, is going to be a little stronger, even though Vieira was way buffer. I think Jack is just more experienced doing these motions,
Yeah.
That being said, I don't think he's going to be able to take him or hold him down. He might be able to push him against the fence, but I feel like Chris Curtis, once he gets going, it's almost going to be an avalanche. Like you mentioned, the body shots. Hermansson tends to hold a very high guard, and that's the body's going to be there for the picking for Chris Curtis. We've seen Jack Hermansson get stopped by some powerful strikers, notably like Cannonier and them.
Yeah.
And Chris Curtis, I don't think hits as hard as Cannonier, and so I don't think he's going to finish him. But I have Chris Curtis by decision. I think once he gets comfortable and he stops the takedowns, Jack has a tendency to stop the takedowns, like stop going for the takedown once he has no success with it. We saw that in Strickland fight. Once he couldn't take him down, he started boxing with him. And I think we're going to see something similar. And as the fight goes on, I think Chris Curtis is just going to be too much on the feet. I think he's going to have the power advantage. And I think the body work and the legs are really going to take its toll. And I think Chris Curtis wins by decision. I think it's very close, though.
Yeah. But yeah, I got Chris Curtis by decision as well.
Well, those are our thoughts, our predictions. We both have Chris Curtis on short notice to win by decision. We just think the experience of his training camp for his previous fight will bleed into this one, and we think he'll be able to stop Jack's takedowns and piece him up on the feet, hit him in the body, hit him to the head, everything. And we'll ultimately outstrike him in the end and win by decision. We both have him by decision. Let us know down below what you think. Do you think we're underestimating Jack? Do you think this is too big of a test for Chris Curtis just yet? Or yeah, let us know down below. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't. Check out our other videos. We're actually doing the Paddy the Batty fight versus Jordan Levitt and the main event, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blade. So check those out if you haven't. And yeah, we'll see you next week for Nunes versus Pena 2. Sorry, Pena versus Nunes 2, since she's the champ, respect. And yeah, it's going to be a great night of fights. Don't forget to tune in, and we'll see you next week.
Yep. See ya.
See ya.